Do you get told that you lean too far forward during a squat? It might not actually be a mobility problem. It might have to do with your anatomy. Let's talk about it. Okay, so if you are labeled as someone, or you think, hey, I lean really far forward when I do back squats, right? We need to take a look at your anatomy. And the first thing we need to look at is we need to look at how long is your femur compared to your torso. Some of us are going to have a longer femur and a shorter torso, and that is who this video is for, okay? Those of you with a short femur, long torso, you squat super upright, and you have great quad development, and that's awesome for you, and we're super proud of you. But for those of us who have longer femurs, shorter torso, we have a couple of biomechanical situations that we run into that don't allow our squat to be as quad dominant. So in a squat, the weight has to remain over, or our center of mass has to remain over our midfoot. Otherwise, we're going to fall forward or fall forward or go backward, right? So in order to keep that weight around our midfoot, what happens if we have longer femurs is we actually see this posterior weight shift when we descend into the squat, and we see loading of our glutes and our hamstrings. That is not to say the quads are not working. The quads are absolutely working when we squat down and stand up. No one's going to argue that, okay? But the primary movers there are going to be those posterior chain muscles, which is fine, right? But as a longer femur individual, we need to understand that when we squat, we are not going to see this big quad stimulus. We're not going to see these giant gains in quadriceps size from just squatting or strength. So lots of times people are like, well, I'm not getting any stronger with my quads when I squat, but I notice that I'm getting stronger in my hamstrings and my glutes. And I'm like, yeah, that's because that's what you're loading, right? Or we see, like, I'm not seeing the quad development when I see. Okay, cool. So let's still squat. Let's still barbell back squat. But then let's think about workarounds that we can do to start to isolate the quadricep muscle for that long femored individual. And they're really simple. These modifications do not need to be complicated, guys. If you want a more quad dominant squat, first thing we can consider is let's front load the weight. So let's take the weight from your back, load it around the front. That looks like barbell front squat. That looks like kettlebell goblet squat, right? There's even safety bars, which if you guys haven't seen them, they have long arms that kind of drop out and around that bring the weight forward, right? This allows us to have a more upright squat and requires us to have a more upright squat, which we are going to then see more quad dominance. So that's one. Adjust where we load the weight. More forward is going to be more quad dominant. The second thing that we can do is we can put you up on heel elevation, or this is why lots of people wear lifters, right? This actually increases the amount of dorsiflexion that we have and therefore increases our squat depth, and we don't run into our acetabulum or that hip socket quite as quick as long femur individuals when we elevate our heels, right? So here I can stay really upright when I squat. If we take the heel elevation and the front loading, we can even combine them. And one of my favorite accessory exercises for those of us with long femurs and short torsos, or in general for quad stimulus, is this narrow stance kettlebell heel elevated goblet squat, right? That's a mouthful, but we can see lots more quad stimulus, and it's a lot more quad dominant than it would be just with a barbell back squat for us. So if you lean far forward in your squat, remember, it might not be a mobility issue. It might just be anatomical variance, and we need to basically go with what biomechanics allows us to do, right? We can't fit a round peg into a square hole. So don't try to force it like that, right? Squat how you were meant to squat, and then if we want the effects or we want isolation, work around that with your accessory exercises, guys. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you want to know if you're a longer femur, shorter torso person, or how to enhance your squat, drop us a question in the comments, drop us a question in our DMs, or come hang out with us and let's make your squat more efficient. We'll catch you guys later.